part 2, higher education, we are much more concerned about this. See, when we really talk about the higher education system today in our country, one side we find we have very large number of educated people across India today. On the other side, we have a scarcity of employable manpower. See, this is a big disparity we experience today. This is the prime concern for the national education policy. See, let us understand what is the significance of all these points. Today, if you are given the responsibility to transform the higher education system, you are aware of the quality of the higher education system when you compare this at the benchmark of the international standard, you are aware of the quality. So I believe your first focus will be to enhance the quality of the higher education system. If you want to enhance the quality, then definitely you will look for the restructuring of the entire system. When you restructure the entire system, then what is your purpose? You would like to move towards more holistic and multidisciplinary education. We will discuss about this term slightly later. What do we really mean by multidisciplinary education system? So you would like to move towards this. After you have the holistic system of education, you have created the framework for this, then you would like to have optimal learning environment. And after you have the learning environment, you need capable, energized and motivated faculty members. After you have everything, then you would like to move on to extend this facility to everybody across India. So this talks about the equity and inclusion in higher education system. After we have this, we have the capable faculty members, but you understand teacher education requires on continuous basis. Then whatever teachers are already embedded into the system, you would like to provide them adequate training and education. So vocational education is really required to be enhanced in India and catalyzing quality academic research. And if we have everything in place, what we really need? You need a regulatory system to implement everything. Then you need effective governance and leadership for the higher education. So basically, I would like to say when you go into details of each one of them, because each one of them are going to hold number of sub points, and I will show you what are the various sub points are there under every heading. I would like to say when you really go through the document, when you really go through the points, the sub points and the focus areas under these sub points, I'm sure you will be mesmerized. You will be really surprised with pleasure that okay, such kind of thinking is prevailing in the country, and if we are able to really do something in this direction, India will be transformed tomorrow, there is no doubt. Okay, so we are going to discuss about the higher education system. So we are going to start with point number 9, that is the first point under higher education system. This is quality universities and colleges. Okay, under this quality universities and colleges, under point number 9, we have these many different points. If we want to realize quality universities and colleges, then what are the various sub points, what are the various sections we have to really emphasize such that we should be able to realize the quality universities and colleges? These are those points. Okay, a new and forward-looking vision for India's higher education system. That is what is under this particular point. 9.1 talks of the role of higher, HEI stands for higher education institutions. Under this 9.1.1, 9.1.2 and 9.1.3, there are 3 different things. One is related to developing well-rounded person. See, if we want to use the higher education system, we will understand the roles and responsibilities of this, then we would realize that developing a well-rounded person is the one of the prime responsibility of higher education, and this point discusses about this. Then identified set of skills. So under role of HIGs, we will know the significance. Then we will identify developing well-rounded person is one of the most important significance, most important responsibility of higher educational institutions. Okay, I was saying that flexible system is going to be adopted. We will discuss in more detail related to this later on, but let us understand, even if the system is flexible, even if you have a choice to choose the subjects, any set of subjects, any combination of subjects you can choose, but in spite of that, some set of skills are very much important for this, and this you have to really You cannot really skip that. What are those? We have to discuss under this particular heading. Then prosperous nation. If we want to build a nation, build our nation, our country prosperous, then it is the higher education system that is going to contribute, that will contribute maximum towards this. And after that, we would like to see what are the problems associated with higher educational institutions today. We know it's not performing as we really desire, but what are the various regions that make it to perform substandard? We would like to identify the problems, and then we would like to finally discuss what are the various visions of this particular policy to reform the higher education systems. Okay, said that point, this is the point related to quality universities and colleges. Under these points, these are the various points, sub points you can say. And now what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to discuss each point in isolation, separately. As I've already stated that this will be consuming time more than we really desire we have, and this will not really solve the purpose of having holistic view. So what I will do is, collectively, holistically, from all these points, we are going to discuss certain important points now. Okay, see, higher education, what is the impact of the higher education? See, higher education provides sustainable livelihood, we are aware. See, it helps in personal accomplishment, and moreover, it helps in constructive public engagement. See, not limited to this, but there are many more things also we will discuss. The purpose of the higher education system is more than individual employment, to provide social consciousness, productive contribution to the society, and knowledge creation and innovation. These are the various purposes of higher education system. And higher education system is able to build a productive, progressive and prosperous nation, which helps in economic development. See, we are aware of the roles and responsibilities and the contributions possible by the higher education system. Then we know what is the condition today of our country in terms of the higher education. See, if you want to talk about the QS ranking, see, these are not to demotivate ourselves. These are to realize the current fact today, and these are to realize that this is the status today, and we have to move from this to something higher, and for this education policy is there. So basically, we need to have a look on the current status. 2017, top 200 universities across the world, India has none of the institution, we are aware. In 2019, in top 100 universities across the world, none from India. And when you talk about top 500 universities, 7 are from India. We are aware of this QS ranking. This is nothing new for all of us. And out of these 7, IIT Mumbai, 162, these are the status, these are the rankings, we are aware. Lastly, Guwahati, IIT Guwahati, 472. So all these, okay, what does it really speak? See, it speaks a lot about the higher education system of our country. See, let me tell you, at the time of the independence in 1947, there were only 27 universities in India, and 2 lakh people were seeking higher education in 1947. Today, in higher education, the enrolled number of people are 2 crore 35 lakh. Such a vast difference today we are able to see. See, in terms of numbers, we have increased enormously, but in terms of the quality, we could not really do as desired. See, today we have 711 universities, and this was 27 at the time of the independence. And the literacy rate that time was almost 14%, and today it is 71% by the census of 2014. So we are aware, we have improved in one front, but when you really talk of the quality, we could not really make any important jump. Problems, why so? We need to identify the problems, and the National Education Policy has identified the problems, and these are the problems identified by the National Education Policy. The policy says that our higher education system is utterly fragmented. See, we are victim of this, we know. We will discuss this slightly later. Okay, there is a rigid separation in branches and disciplines in higher education system. There is no much of the flexibility. There is less emphasis on research, there is lack of faculty and institutional autonomy in curricular development, in development of the pedagogy. Suboptimal governance and leadership to the higher educational institutions is also one of a point leading towards no quality. Ineffective regulatory system, see, we will identify slightly later, there is one special section on this where we will find that the regulatory system has been totally changed. New regulatory system we are going to discuss, but ineffective regulatory system is one of a very major reason, and low standard of education, all these result into low standard of education. And we can't say with pride that we provide quality education. We can say we provide education to very, very large number of people, but we cannot say we provide quality education. See, now let us understand, if it is able to identify the problems prevailing today in the higher education system, then what are the remedies it has suggested, what it envisions. The policy aims for a complete overall and re-engineering of higher education system, and policy envisions multidisciplinary universities and colleges in every district, and preferably with medium of instruction in local Indian languages. See, it is not necessary that every district will have multidisciplinary universities with medium of local or Indian language instruction, but every district will have one university like this. Preferably, wherever it is possible, we can create universities with medium of instruction that will be local or Indian language. This is one of a prime objective, prime focus of this policy to improve the quality of the higher education system. See, it wants to provide faculty and institutional autonomy. It wants to revamp the curriculum, pedagogy, assessment mechanisms and support mechanisms for the students. Merit appointment and career progression schemes it wants to launch for the higher education system. Then it wants to establish National Research Foundation for funding. And there will be independent board of governors. This is very, very important point, and we are going to devote sufficient time on this to discuss what are the various boards of governance and what are their functions and how they are going to really improve the higher education system of India. Whatever regulatories we are going to establish, they will be working on light but tight mode. That means they will look into the various schemes, but they will not be overlapping to each other. They will be working in singular manner. Each one will have individual responsibility, and in that responsibility they will be very, very stringent to take the actions. Increased access, equity and inclusion will be one of a prime focus to improve the quality of higher education system of India, and outstanding public scholarship and online digital learning education schemes will be launched by this. Okay, see, we will not go into much detail related to this because we have to talk about the other points also. So when you talk about point number 9, then we are going to move to point number 10. And we've already discussed that if we want to really improve the higher education system, then after quality universities and colleges, we have to focus on institutional restructuring and consolidation. So after we discuss briefly about this, we are going to discuss about the institutional restructuring and consolidation. So under this heading, we have several points. Under this heading, see, we have total 14 number of points. The focus areas of the national education policy, where they want to really focus in order to bring institutional restructuring and consolidation of the institutions under higher education system. One is, see, we have to end the fragmentation. This is a major block that stops development of the institutions. See, towards multidisciplinary universities and cluster of higher educational institutions. See, this is also one of a focus in restructuring. See, multidisciplinary universities, let us understand what is the meaning of this. See, today we may have a college with very less number of students, maybe 200, 2000 or 5000 students, but such colleges will not exist tomorrow. They will move to multidisciplinary universities. It simply means that there will be center of higher learning, higher educational institutions, and they will have minimum 3000 students, and they will have multiple disciplines. They will not be focused just for one kind of the like science, arts or whatever discipline we can say. They will not be focused to one. but they will focus to everything: science, arts, commerce, music, sports, many things will be integrated into one, and this will be known as multidisciplinary universities with large number of students. And the purpose of this is, see, whoever is going to study in this, they will come out with well-rounded personality, multifaceted personality, and they will learn many things. We have to change the perception of the university. We will discuss slightly later. We have some points related to this after this slide. Then graded autonomy will be given to the institutions. Categorization, a continuum. Okay, see, categorization, this will be more clear when I will come to the next slide. What is the meaning of categorization? A continuum. Other responsibilities of HIEs, higher educational institutions, are not only related to teach their students, but they have some other responsibilities also. So this point discusses about the other responsibilities of higher educational institutions. See, one thing is very clear, we must understand that multidisciplinary universities will be established by 2040. See, will be established is not the correct word. All the institutions, stand-alone institutions, universities and colleges will be transformed to multidisciplinary universities by the year 2040. This is the vision of the national education policy. See, there will be more number of higher educational institutions will be set up, and the purpose is to improve the gross enrollment ratio. More and more number of students must be enrolled into the institution. This is also one of a perspective and one of the vision, you can say, and you can understand why this vision is, because it wants to create equity and inclusion. So it wants to enhance the GER, that is gross enrollment ratio. Growth of public and private higher educational institutions and public funding will be preferred in this. Options to run online distance learning programs, single stream higher educational institutions will be phased out. I have already spoken that by 2040 they all are going to be transformed into MDU, multidisciplinary universities. Empowerment and autonomy will be given to the universities. Integrated education. Education will not be single streamed. Variety of streams will be integrated into one education system such that the well-rounded personality will emerge out of the universities. And let us understand, deemed to be universities. Today, there are different kinds of the universities. I will talk about this with the help of a slide. Various universities will be termed simply as university tomorrow. Okay, consolidated points from all these. Let us understand highest recommendation to end fragmentation. This is the highest recommendation of the national education policy. Multidisciplinary universities, colleges, and higher educational institution clusters will be created. Means whatever are existing today, they are going to be transformed either in this or that. See, when you talk about the universities, universities could be research intensive universities, or universities could be teaching in intensive universities. Research incentive means, intensive means 50% research and 50% teaching will be carried out in that, and teaching intensive universities means more than 50% teaching will be carried out. Less research and more teaching will be carried out in this. And autonomous degree granting colleges will be merely teaching institutions, but some amount of research can also be carried out in that. So this is the basically various categorization of the universities under this. Now let us understand, these categorizations are not rigid. They are not exclusionary, but they are along a continuum. That means any one of them can be converted into any one of them over a period of time, depending on the kind of progress they make, depending on the kind of vision they set, and depending on the kind of the achievements they show. By 2040, all higher educational institutions shall aim to become multidisciplinary institutions. See, deemed to be universities, affiliating technical universities, and unitary universities, these are the prevailing names today. Variety of universities are under these categories, these names. So tomorrow, all these universities will be named as university only. They will not be individually termed as these. When we talk about the multidisciplinary education system, we are moving towards multidisciplinary institutions. And what will be the aim? Aim will be to develop all human potential. Human potential include intellectual, aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, and moral. All these will be integrated, provided to the students in integrated manner, and this will be the aim of the holistic multidisciplinary institutions. And this will help to create a well-rounded person. Here, arts, humanities, language, science, social sciences, ethics, social engagement, soft skills, professional, technical, and vocational fields, rigorous specialization in the chosen field, all these will be dealt in these universities. And when all of them are going to be dealt in one, you will find the universities will definitely rank higher because many aspects will be dealt in. Okay, see, one aspect we need to understand, teacher education is very important aspect. And we need to understand teachers must be grounded in Indian values, language, knowledge, ethos, and traditions of India. Also, they must be well versed in latest advances in education and pedagogy. See, these are basically to create the teachers, to shape the teachers. This is important because this is important to restore the prestige of teaching profession and shape the next generation. This is very important. And for this, several teacher educational institutions are running across country, but they need a paradigm shift. But why they need a paradigm shift? I want to quote one Justice J.S. Verma Commission that was set up in 2012, and they have submitted a report. And this commission was constituted by the Supreme Court. And what is their report? Let us understand this. See, a majority of a stand-alone, over 10,000 in numbers, teachers, educational institutions are not even attempting serious teacher education, but are essentially selling degrees for the price. Regulatory efforts so far have neither been able to curb the malpractices in the system, nor enforce basic standard of quality, and in fact have had the negative effect of curbing the growth of excellence and innovation in the sector. The sector and its regulatory systems are therefore in urgent need of revitalization through radical action in order to raise standards and restore integrity, credibility, efficacy, and high quality of teacher education system. Okay, see, we understand teacher education is very, very important to restore the prestige of teaching profession and shape the next generation to build the country, to create the society. But those who are building the teachers, they are not really doing their work seriously. This is the commission report that states like this. And this report has been taken into serious consideration by the National Education Policy, and they have taken some drastic actions related to this. See, regulatory bodies related to this will be empowered to take stringent actions against substandard teacher educational institutions. By 2030, these are the things that is going to be mandatory. All teacher education programs will be provided by multidisciplinary institutions. See, today, if you talk about the B.Ed programs, it is given by so many independent institutions. But tomorrow, it will be given only by multidisciplinary institutions, and this is going to be implemented by the year 2030. All teachers' educational institutions be converted to multidisciplinary institutions. See, in multidisciplinary institutions, education departments will be established and they will also run the B.Ed programs. And for teachers, 4 years integrated B.Ed program will be the minimum qualification for becoming a teacher in the schools. This will be implemented by 2030. But in addition to that, 2 years B.Ed for already those who are bachelor degree holders and 1 year B.Ed for already 4-year bachelor degree holders will be given to them. Okay, see, when we talk about the vocational education, these are the various points, but we want to discuss some points from here. See, 12th 5-year plan that was held during 2012 to 17 estimated that in Indian workforce at the age group of 9 to 24, less than 5% people had the vocational education. On the other hand, if we compare this at the world benchmark, we will find USA had 52%, Germany has 75%, and South Korea has a very large number, that is 96%. People received vocational education. This policy aims to enhance a very large number in the vocational education. Policy aims at least 50% by 2025. And vocational education will be integrated into the mainstream of schools and higher educational institutions, and higher educational institutions will offer vocational education programs on their own or maybe in partnership with the industry and some NGOs. My prime focus now, after discussing some part of higher education, is in part 4, making it happen. Policy can be of any good quality, there is no doubt. Lot of very brilliant people can combine together, put their brain, can do the brainstorming, and finally they can come out with very good findings, very good recommendations. That forms the policy. But unless the policy is brought onto the ground, policy will make no difference. It will make no meaning for us. Okay, so the national education policy that is divided into 4 sections, it talks, the 4th section is making it happen, how this policy can be implemented. This is the focus of this particular section. So I'm going to discuss this section today. Now, under this section, there are 3 different points, 25, 26 and 27. Point number 25 discusses strengthening the Central Advisory Board of Education. Point number 26 discusses financing affordable and quality education for all and implementation. We'll discuss each point in little more detail. See, under this strengthening the Central Advisory Board of Education, there are 2 points. One is 25.1, that is strengthening and empowering the Central Advisory Board of Education. And now let us understand Ministry of Human Resource Development. This has been renamed today under this policy as Ministry of Education. जैसे पहले हम लोग मानव संसाधन विकास मंत्रालय बोलते थे, अभी उसी का नाम शिक्षा मंत्रालय कर दिया गया है. This is to increase the focus on education. Successful implementation of a policy demands long-term vision, availability of expertise on a sustained basis, concentrated actions from all the concerned. These are the requirements for implementation. Central Advisory Board of Education will be given full power. It will be strengthened and empowered for developing, articulating, evaluating and revising the vision of the education of India. This will be done on continuous basis with MHRD and apex bodies related to education across the country. So from this, we come to know that these are the requirements for successful implementation. Okay, now we talk about 26, financing affordable and quality education for all, raising educational investment, substantial increase in public investment, financial support to various critical elements, key long-term thrust areas, focus in smooth, timely and appropriate flow of fund, support for private philanthropic activities, light but tight regulations. See, these are under financing. These have been done. Okay, so let us understand some of the points which is important for us to know under these is National Education Policy 2020 is committed to significantly raise educational investment. Okay, it has been recommended many times that 6% of GDP must be invested for the education. So basically 2017-18 it was 4.43, but currently it is in the order of 3 point something like this. Okay, so let me tell you, the investment in education has always been less than this figure. It has never been more than this, whereas always it has been recommended that it should be in the order of 6%. See, let me tell you the reason. We don't really want to discuss the reason, but I would like to say because of the low amount of investment, you can see the poor conditions of the government schools across the India, everywhere. See, schools are running a lot of lack of the infrastructure facilities, lot of lack of various other kinds of the facilities. When you talk about the libraries, the number of libraries in the schools are coming down. When you talk about the playground, you talk about the building, you talk about the basic infrastructure of the schools today across India, you will find it is really of a below optimal standard. See, for financing, some thrust areas have been identified. Universal provisioning of quality, this early childhood care and education. This is one of the thrust area where the investment will be made. Ensuring fundamental literacy and numeracy, this is considered to be most important for going into the ladder of the education for any individual. Appropriate resourcing of school complexes and clusters, the funding will be utilized for this. Food and nutrition of the children, teacher education and career progression development, revamping colleges and universities, cultivating research, use of technology and online education. So basically these will be the various thrust areas where the government has decided, the national education policy has recommended that the government must make the investment in these areas. Promotion and support for private philanthropic activities. Now let us understand, in implementation we want to discuss, there are three different points: multiple initiatives and actions, principles to guide implementation, and committees of experts. See, in implementation, effectiveness depends on effective implementation, we know, requires multiple initiatives and actions, and concentrated concrete plans by multiple bodies. See, several bodies have been identified to work together in synergy to make it implementable. These bodies are MHRD, CAB, union and state governments, education related ministries, State Department of Education, boards, NTA, regulatory bodies of school and higher educational institutions, NCRT, SCERTs, school and HIGs. So basically, these are the bodies. They have been identified. Implementation will be guided by the following principles. The principles will be like this: spirit and intent, most critical. Whatever the policy says, it must be implemented in its spirit and intent. Initiative and phased manner, prioritization, the items will be completed in sequence. Comprehensiveness in implementation, that is the key. A concurrent subject. See, concurrent subject, I would like to say that this is not only the central government, education is not only the central government subject. This is the state government subject also. So the subject which is related to both of them, the responsibility goes to both of them, is under the category of concurrent subjects. So center and state together will create the policies for implementation. Timely infusion of requisite resources, careful analysis and review. The entire policy will be operational in this particular decade, 30-40, following which another comprehensive review will be undertaken. Okay, see, this is from the policy. How the implementation is possible, can be possible. For this, I would like to quote one statement from Albert Einstein. See, Albert Einstein said that the significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. We require a deeper level of thinking, a new paradigm to gain effectiveness in solving the problems. I would like to quote, see, what I really want to say, if we want to talk about the implementation, it is the mindset, it is the inner desire of every stakeholders that can create the implementation possible, that can make the implementation possible. And we must understand the Albert Einstein statement. And see, I would like to quote Swami Vivekananda. He wrote in a letter on 20th August 1893, उन्होंने लिखा था, प्रतिज्ञा करो कि अपना जीवन इन 30 करोड़ लोगों के उद्धार कार्य में लगा दोगे, जो दिनों दिन अवनति के गर्त में गिरते जा रहे हैं। यह एक दिन का कार्य नहीं है और रास्ता भी अत्यंत भयंकर कंटकों से आकीर्ण है। कार्य गुरुतर है और हम लोग साधनहीन हैं, तो भी हम अमृत पुत्र और ईश्वर की संतान हैं। हम अवश्य सफल होंगे। पवित्रता, सच्चाई और विश्वास चाहिए। आशा तुम लोगों से है जो विनीत, निराभिमानी और विश्वास पारायण हैं। कोई भी बड़ा काम कठिन परिश्रम के बिना नहीं हुआ। भारत में हमसे बड़े बड़े कार्य संपन्न होंगे। विश्वास करो, क्या तुम जनता की उन्नति कर सकते हो? क्या उनका खोया हुआ व्यक्तित्व बिना उनकी स्वाभाविक आध्यात्मिक दृष्टि को नष्ट किए उन्हें वापस दिला सकते हो? क्या समता, स्वतंत्रता, कार्यकौशल और पौरुष में तुम पाश्चात्यों के भी गुरु बन सकते हो? यह काम करना है और हम सभी से करेंगे ही। तुम सबने इसी के लिए जन्म लिया है। अपने आप पर विश्वास रखो। दृढ़ धारणाएं महत् कार्यों की जननी हैं। हमेशा बढ़ते चलो, वीर युवकों, बढ़े चलो। देखिए, मैं कहता हूं कि हमारे अंदर से जब भावना प्रकट नहीं होगी, तब तक किसी काम को हम अंजाम कैसे दे सकते हैं। स्वामी विवेकानंद जी के एक पत्र का छोटा सा उदाहरण मैं देना चाहता हूं। 11 जुलाई 1894 को 1894 ही रोट, सिर्फ झूठ से बचो, काम में लग जाओ, उत्साह अग्नि तुम में स्वयं प्रज्वलित हो उठेगी। संगठन की शक्ति का हम में पूर्णतया अभाव है उनका विकास करना होगा। इसका सबसे बड़ा उपाय है हम में ईर्ष्या ना हो, अपने प्रेम के द्वारा सब पर विजय प्राप्त करो, निरंतर कार्य करते रहो, जीवन क्षण स्थायी है, उसे एक महान उद्देश्य के लिए समर्पित कर दो। देखिए, इनको कोट करने के पीछे मेरा उद्देश्य सिर्फ इतना ही है कि अगर मान लीजिए किसी चीज को हम कार्य रूप में परिणत करना चाहते हैं, किसी चीज का कार्यान्वयन करना चाहते हैं, किसी चीज को इंप्लीमेंट करना चाहते हैं, तो पॉलिसी से नहीं होगा, सिस्टम से नहीं होगा, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर से नहीं होगा, लेकिन उस सिस्टम में, उस पॉलिसी में, उस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में जो लोग लगे हुए हैं, अगर उनके मन के अंदर एक परिवर्तन होता है, यदि उनके मन के अंदर एक निष्ठा जगती है, एक विश्वास पैदा होता है, एक जिम्मेवारी का भाव पैदा होता है कि हम उसे करके रहेंगे, तो संभव है कि इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पॉसिबल हो सकता है, कार्यान्वयन पॉसिबल हो सकता है। देखिए, आई वुड लाइक टू कोट, इट इज ए क्राइम टू मेक स्मॉलर गोल्स इन लाइफ। अब्दुल कलाम जी ने कहा था, मेकिंग स्मॉलर गोल्स इन लाइफ इज ए क्राइम। इफ यू कैन डू मच बिगर थिंग्स इन लाइफ, देन व्हाई टू सेट योर गोल्स स्मॉलर वंस। एक चीज मैं और कोट करना चाहता हूं, महर्षि पतंजलि ने ईसा से 300 साल पहले कहा था, when you are inspired by some great mission in life, your mind transcends all the limitations and your thought breaks all their boundaries. Your consciousness expands in all the directions and you find yourself in a different and incredible world which you might have not even dreamed of. देखिए, इन्होंने कहा था कि यदि आप किसी महान योजना से प्रेरित होते हैं तो आपके सभी विचार सीमा तोड़कर विराट रूप ले लेते हैं और आप अपने आप को एक रोमांचक दुनिया में पाते हैं। देखिए, इन्हीं बातों के साथ I just want to state that I strongly believe in these three statements. Education is the most important activity for individual growth and social development. Value-based quality education is the remedy to resolve all individual and social conflicts. And teacher is the key. We are the teachers. Teacher is the key to quality education and all-round development, which in turn strengthens the nation. I would like to really come to the end of this presentation.